Alright, so for today's lesson, we will be learning how to distinguish between primary and secondary sources. So to begin today's lesson, we're going to start off with a game called Telephone. Now, has everyone played Telephone before? It's the game, so this is how we will be playing this game. So I will present to you, Hans, a picture. And then after you see the picture, I want you to describe to Eric what you saw.
Okay.
And then after you describe to Eric what you saw, I want you to draw on your sheet of paper what the picture looked like. And then Eric, I want you to then tell Izzy like what Hans told you.
Okay.
And then after you tell Izzy, I would like you to also draw the picture. And then Izzy, after Eric tells you, you will also draw the picture.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions?
No?
Alrighty, so Hans, here is the picture. Got it?
Okay.
Alright.
Okay, so it's a picture of one of those like 90s stick figure cartoon guys. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I think they appear on Sesame Street or something like that. And one of them is yellow, the left one is yellow, and the right one is orange. Or left and right. And they have their arms around each other's shoulders. And the background is just a solid color, but they're also like, they look like sun rays coming out of them. Yeah.
Alright, Eric, now it's not Izzy.
Okay, so it's two stick figures with their arms around each other like they're, buddy friends.
Okay.
One's yellow, one's orange,
Okay.
and there's no super distinctive background, but there's like sun rays coming off of them.
Okay.
Because I guess their friendship radiates sunshine.
Okay. Okay.
And this can just be a quick sketch, it doesn't have to be fancy. Just take a minute or two just to draw what you think what was described to you. And while you're drawing, be thinking about how your pictures might be different and why that might be. So, give you a minute to draw. And thank you all for being so quiet and so focused on your activity. I really appreciate it. 30 seconds. Good job, everyone. 20 seconds. Be sure to not look at your neighbor's picture. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pencils down, please. All right, so could everyone present their picture, hold their picture up, please? Wow, it seems to be able to have quite different pictures. So why do you think that might be? Could someone raise their hand and tell me why that might be? Yes, Eric.
Because we didn't actually see the picture.
Oh. And Hans was able to, right? So since Hans was able to see the picture, his picture right here would be an example of a primary source. And our definition for a primary source is, it's a source created by someone who is actually present at the event. So the event would be Hans seeing the picture, which was this, a Best Buddies sticker, of two stick figures, side by side. So Hans seeing the picture would have been the event. And since Hans was at the event, his picture would be considered the primary source. So what kind of source do you think your pictures would be? Would someone like to raise their hand and tell me? Yes, Izzy.
Secondary sources.
And why would it be a secondary source? Can someone answer that? Yes, Hans.
Because she didn't see it directly.
That's right, which brings us to our definition of what a secondary source is. It's a source created by someone not present when the event took place. So that's a secondary source. So, as you can see, with Hans's primary source, it's in comparison to our picture to be, I think, the most accurate one of them all, because he was able to actually see the picture. So now, I would like for you on your first post-it note to write primary, and then on your second post-it note to write secondary. And then next, I will read out to you a list of items that will fall either in the primary category or the secondary category. And this is a game called Stick 'em Ups, in which after I say the item, if it's a primary resource, you will put it on your forehead. But if it's a secondary resource, then you will put the secondary post-it note on your forehead. Does anyone have any questions?
No.
All right, so we'll begin. A diary entry. What would that be? Exactly. That it would be a primary resource. And why would it be a primary resource? Could someone raise their hand and tell me? Yes, Eric.
Because it's someone writing down their personal account of what they experienced.
Right, exactly. So that could perhaps be a characteristic that could help us distinguish between a primary and a secondary resource. It could be, so one thing you want to look for is it a personal account? Does it represent a personal view or perspective? So now, for our second item, an interview. Would that be primary or secondary?
Like what kind of an interview? Like interviewing someone who is there?
It would be a news, so a reporter interviewing someone who witnessed an event. It would be primary. And why would it be primary?
Because the person being interviewed was present at the event.
Exactly. They were present at the event. Now, our third item, a textbook. Would that be secondary or primary? It would be secondary. And why? Why would it be secondary? Yes, Izzy.
It's someone like a historian taking a bunch of people's accounts and putting it into one overview of the event.
Exactly. So thank you for such a great job at playing Stick 'em Up. Now I will be passing out a newspaper to each of you. And I would like for each of you to read an article on the first page called Students Safe After Japanese Quake Strikes. And then while you're reading the article, I would like you to highlight statements that you think would be considered a primary resource, and for you to underline statements that would be considered a secondary source. And then I would like you to share with your partner what you've found. All right, we're done.